Hello and welcome to the sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Open Series Season 3 Invitational in New Jersey. I'm Nick Miller alongside Adam Fronsee. How you doing?
Good, how you doing, Nick?
And you're our first standard deck tech of the weekend.
Awesome.
With a pretty sweet Sliver brew. Now, we have seen a couple people attempt the Slivers decks on the Open Series. Start off pretty good and then shake it out. And now we have a new brew which has really caught my attention because you have a Court of Calling package and Biden Athasas, which setting this deck apart.
Absolutely.
Talk about how you've included the toolbox package with the numerous slivers and how Biden has worked in this type, of strategy.
Well, to be honest with you, I've been looking at all the slivers, and I think the majority of the people who are attempting standard slivers right now are sticking more along with a rug frame. And because I feel personally that the black and the white splashes are just maybe 2-3 ofs at most. Perfect combination with Court of Calling, kind of like a toolbox or a pottish build, so to speak. And adding Biden to the list, you got so much interaction with the first striking, with the double striking, even attacking, forcing your opponent to attack with the activated ability into a venomous sliver board with first strike or whatnot has been incredible for me.
Yeah, forcing creatures into attack when you just have first strike death touch seems pretty good.
And it's not bad. I mean, I have the one of Thorncaster too. It's not too shabby.
Right, I've seen that in conjunction with Venom to just shoot down entire boards.
Exactly.
Things like that. So like most people are sticking with the rug frame, which gives you flying, gives you the mana, the old school muscle sliver effect of +1/+1, as well as diffusion. But the white and black allows you to add a couple other cards in, including, I like the double strike sliver Bone Scythe.
Bone Scythe has been incredible. Again, it's got great interaction, especially with Biden. Drawing off of the first strike damage and then the normal combat damage has been fun. And the interaction also works with Scythe and Sliver.
Right. So gaining extra amounts of life, draining opponents of extra amounts of life, drawing extra cards, seems huge, as well as the white splash giving you Sentinel Sliver, so you can just sit there vigilant, attack, and defend with a very powerful board.
Yeah, and if need be, keep up the vigilant slivers with mana weft or for cord.
So you can attack, cord out something, just all of the tricks are available. And the black sliver, Siphon Sliver, I forget that one's name all the time, but that is what the black splash is primarily for.
Yeah, I've got 2 in the main, 2 in the board, and plus the board option, I moved away from my original list, which had primarily a red-white build, because I felt it had better sideboard options.
Boros Charm, probably?
Yeah, Boros Charm was primarily the main in the board, but I actually moved over to Golgari Charm. It gave me options against Banishing Light, Detention Sphere, and it does the same thing, which is regenerate my creatures.
Right. This deck seems very well suited for standard if you're going to play against the decks that are playing to the board.
Yeah.
Anyone that's trying to play creatures, interact that way, this deck is just going to shoot them down.
Yeah.
Now, however, you said the matchups you're kind of worried about, blue-white planar cleansing.
Yeah, the planar cleansing build is probably my worst matchup. Traditional blue-white without planar cleansing and detention sphere and things like that has actually been, I don't want to say favorable, but it's been more manageable than the planar cleansing build. Because if they're able to stop me from getting out the Sliver Hive Lord or any of my other shenanigans, then a simple board wipe, it sets me back quite considerably.
Right.
Other cards that I do traditionally play around, especially after board, has been Golgari Charms, neg 1, the Drown in Sorrow, and then occasionally you'll see Anger of the Gods show up. I'm usually able to fend off against Mizium Mortars with the toolbox version, but again, it's all about playing around it. And a lot of that has to do with the Diffusion Slipper.
Yes.
Because most of the removal currently in the majority of the decks have been targeted. Bile Blight, Doom Blade, Hero's Downfall, etc., etc.
Right.
Catching people with who tap out for a Banishing Light and say Diffusion trigger, that's annoyed a few.
Yeah. The Diffusion Silver allows you to just make their 1-for-1 removal no good for the most part.
Yeah, and it taxes them, and the fortunate thing about it is that it's actually cumulative. It stacks each instance.
More than one makes it even harder to target. At that point, they don't have the mana.
Yeah.
So the sideboard, you're gearing up to fight a lot of control decks. You have the Golgari Charm, which has a ton of modes. Like you said, you can blow up Detention Spheres, as well as Blank Wrath of God, or Supreme Verdict. 3 slaughter games. That's a lot. I've seen some people with varying degrees. You know, the new Convoke one.
Yeah, I attempted Stain the Mind,
yeah.
but when I was going through some cards, I actually saw slaughter games, realized that it was still standard legal, and I replaced them.
Right. Uncounterable seems pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too shabby. Not gonna
So
lie.
you're taking out Supreme Verdicts.
Supreme Verdicts, Planar Cleansing, Sphinx's Rev, occasionally Etherling if need be.
Right. Now you got some other sweet stuff in the sideboard as well. 2 Savage Summoning. Now this is a card that was spoiled very early on in M14. Everyone kind of just looked past it.
Yeah.
Talk about that card.
It was my feeble attempt to flash in Hive Lord if need be.
So, you know, you have an infinite amount of mana. They try to wrath you. You get to flash in a Hive Lord and say, nice verdict there.
With Last Breath, seeing varying degrees of play, I don't really have to play around that as much. And on top of that, if I do see it, I have Diffusion Slipper to fall back on.
Yeah.
And if I pump it out of the way with Predatory Sliver, I have more tricks, and usually I think the surprise factor gets a lot of people.
Yes. A lot of people would be surprised if you cast that card against them today. So you got an Immortal Servitude, which is awesome.
Yeah, I feel that it's a lot better than the Convoke one, because not only does it just get singles, it goes from 3 or 2 and 1.
Right.
And I only have a few that are actually above 2 casting costs as it is, so I like it.
Pretty sweet. And then of course you got some more slivers over here. You can put in for your matchups more Venom. I always forget its name. What do we got here?
Constricting Sliver.
Constricting Sliver.
It's
the
a
Banishing
Banisher
Light.
Priest.
That is what I always think of when I see that card. You know.
Yeah, it turns every Sliver into Banisher Priest. And I mean, it's been great against the Jund Monsters list. You know, assuming that I have a better board presence than they do, which I traditionally do unless I get hit with the Mizian Mortars.
Right.
So.
And then the full package of Scythe and Sliver.
Yes, 2 more on the board, especially against Burn. It's been great. Against Black-White, it's been great.
This deck is sweet.
Thanks.
I am ready for the standard portion of the Invitational to begin so we can see this in action.
I absolutely love it.
Adam, thanks for joining me here in the sideboard.
Thanks for having me,
Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the Invitational coverage.